Alexandra Eala, what are you going to do next? That is some win.
Oh my God.
Alex, I think everyone here is waiting to hear from you. You looked incredibly locked in throughout that match. You let the racket do the talking, and you managed your emotions so well. Just tell us your first thoughts after that win.
Oh, all the emotions are coming because the tension was so high, especially during that second set. So I'm really happy to have gotten through.
There's a massive, deliberate cover-up happening in mainstream tennis media right now. And if you're not paying extremely close attention to the underlying stats, you're going to fall straight into their trap. If you wake up tomorrow and glance at the sports headlines or tune into the standard tennis broadcast networks, they're going to feed you a simple, easily digestible, and completely fabricated story. They'll look at the scoreboard, see that Jasmine Paolini, the veteran, the established star, the player ranked number 6 in the world, lost a match, and tell you she just had an off day. They'll sit in their expensive suits and claim that the conditions were tricky. The court speed wasn't ideal, she's dealing with mid-season fatigue, or she couldn't quite find her rhythm on her forehand. Don't believe a single word. I'm looking at a stat sheet straight from center court, and it tells a completely different, frankly alarming story about the immediate future of the Women's Tennis Association. Stop whatever you're doing, stop scrolling, put your phone down and pay very close attention to what just unfolded on that court. Because Alexandra Eala didn't just pull off a lucky upset. She didn't just catch a top-tier player off guard. She executed a tactical, psychological, and mathematical masterclass that dismantled a top 10 player. And she did it while hiding a fatal flaw in her own game that should have guaranteed her total defeat. To truly grasp why this match is sending shockwaves through the locker room, and why coaches of top 10 players are scrambling to study the footage, you have to understand the sheer magnitude of what happened in the first set. Jasmine Paolini isn't some unseeded wildcard who got lucky with a draw. She's an elite, battle-tested veteran who earned her place at the top of the tennis hierarchy. She knows how to handle pressure. She knows how to manage her energy. She knows how to construct points. You don't beat a player of her caliber 6-1. Let me repeat that it's the foundation of this entire analysis. You don't take a set 6-1 from the world's number 6 player unless something catastrophic went wrong in their game plan. That scoreline is an anomaly. It's a professional embarrassment for a highly seeded player. It means she was completely run off the court before she even had time to tie her shoes, warm up her shoulders, or figure out what her opponent was doing. She was dominated. But the real mystery, the core reason you need to stay tuned, lies deep in the underlying analytics. Because when you examine how Alexandra actually won this match, taking the first set 6-1 and surviving a brutal second set to win 7-6 with a 7-5 tiebreak, it defies logical and mathematical reasoning. Eala walked onto center court with a glaring, fatal flaw in her game. A flaw so severe, so statistically devastating, that in 99% of professional matches it guarantees a swift, humiliating loss. Yet somehow she used that exact weakness to completely dismantle a top-tier opponent mentally. For Alexandria, listen to that noise. Thank you, Jasmine, she says, Paolini gracious as ever in defeat. The former champion is out. Let's start by examining the illusion, Jasmine Paolini's numbers. On paper, if you only focus on one stat, you might think she served brilliantly. Look at her first serve percentage, 74%. Pause and consider what that means in modern women's tennis. Landing nearly 3/4 of first serves should give you complete control of the match. You dictate the pace from the first shot, force the returner on defense, make them scramble to recover court position. In tennis doctrine, a 74% first serve rate is the holy grail of consistency. Coaches dream of it. But here, where Alexiala's sheer brilliance comes in, Eala looked across the net at that 74% first serve rate and completely disrespected it. Look at Paolini's first serve win percentage, 51%. Let that sink in. Jasmine Paolini landed her primary weapon, her first serve, all day and still lost nearly half of those points. Mind-boggling. How does a professional player serve successfully and lose 50% of those points? The answer, aggression. Eala returned the ball with pure, unrelenting violence. She won 30 return points compared to Paolini's 23. Eala realized in the first few games that Paolini's first serve was an illusion. Accurate, yes. Powerful, no. It had no bite, lacked heavy topspin, and didn't have the pace to push a player like Eala backward. So what did Eala do? She didn't retreat. She didn't give herself more time. She stepped right up to the baseline, likely even inside it, taking the ball early and taking time away from Paolini. She immediately put the number 6 player in the world on the defensive. She turned Paolini's biggest weapon against her, making it her greatest liability. Imagine the psychological devastation for Paolini. You toss the ball, execute the serve perfectly, hear the satisfying hit, see it land exactly where you want. And less than a second later it rockets past you for a clean return winner. Demoralizing, spirit-breaking. You start doubting yourself, hitting harder than normal, making unforced errors, panicking. That's exactly what Eala orchestrated in the 6-1 first set. She systematically stripped Paolini of her primary weapon, not by blocking it back but by attacking it outright. She's a formidable opponent. Obviously, being top 10 and a former champion, competing at this level with her is a huge achievement for me. Yeah, let's talk a bit about that second set. At 5-3 you had a couple of match points, and then in the tiebreak, what was going through your mind to close it out? But hold on, because this is where the story gets absolutely insane. This is the part of the stat sheet that TV commentators either completely missed or actively ignored, and it's exactly why Eala is a dangerous, terrifying prospect for the rest of the tour moving forward. We need to talk about Eala's kryptonite, her second serve. Take a close look at Eala's second serve win percentage in this match, 38%. I'll say it again because it almost looks like a typo, 38%. That's not just a bad day at the office. That's a catastrophic failure of a fundamental tennis stroke. At the professional level in the WTA, winning only 38% of second serves is basically handing the point to your opponent on a silver platter. When Eala missed her first serve, it was practically a guaranteed point for Jasmine Paolini. Every time she had to rely on her second serve, Paolini would tee off, take control of the rally and finish it quickly. To put it in perspective, look at Paolini on the other side. Despite getting crushed in the first set, she won a massive 69% of her own second serve points. Now imagine giving that stat sheet, cover the final score, cover the players' names, and handing it to any professional coach in the world. They'd look at it and see one player winning only 38% of second serve points, the other winning 69%. And they'd bet their house, car, and life savings that the higher percentage player won easily, probably in straight sets. In professional tennis, especially against a top 10 opponent, bleeding points like that on your second serve makes winning almost mathematically impossible. It's like trying to win a boxing match with one arm tied behind your back while punching yourself in the face every third round. It defies the laws of tennis. So how did Eala survive? How did she drag this match to a second set tiebreak and win 7-5, all while her second serve was essentially sabotaging her? How do you hide a 38% win rate? The answer: absolute cold-blooded, terrifying aggression on the first strike. Eala is not reckless, she has an incredible tennis IQ. She knew her second serve was failing, knew each miss was a lifeline for Paolini, and knew she was vulnerable. What does a typical young player do in that situation? What does a player without championship DNA do when their second serve collapses on center court against the number 6 seed? They panic, tighten up, start decelerating on the first serve just to avoid hitting the dreaded second. They play not to lose, but Eala did the exact opposite. She refused to rely on her second serve at all. She put all her chips on the table with the first serve. Look at her first serve percentage, 77%. Almost 80% of her first serves went in. And she didn't just get them in, she dominated them. She won 73% of points on her first serve, masking her fatal flaw by being overwhelmingly aggressive, consistent, and dominant on the very first shot, giving Paolini no chance to exploit her weakness. Think about the mental toughness required for that strategy. Every first serve becomes a do-or-die scenario, and Eala thrived under that pressure. This isn't just athletic talent. You can teach forehands, footwork, court positioning, but you can't teach that level of mental resilience. This is elite-level tennis IQ radiating from a young rising star. She managed her flaws, managed her game, and outmaneuvered a veteran mathematically. She essentially told Paolini, yes, my second serve is terrible today, but you will never see it. Dig even deeper, and the clutch factor becomes clear. Professional tennis, especially at this level, isn't decided by who hits the prettiest backhand or has the best footwork. It's decided in the margins, in the trenches, on break points. When it's 30-40, when the crowd is dead silent, when pressure is suffocating, who steps up and who crumbles? Look at the numbers. Paolini had 4 breakpoint opportunities and converted 50%. Not terrible, but not championship level. Eala had 8 breakpoint chances and converted 4. She was relentless, constantly applying pressure. Every time Paolini looked up, she faced a deficit. It shows in the total points won. Eala 72, Paolini 57. A plus 15-point differential in a match with a second set tiebreak is massive. This wasn't luck. It wasn't a lower-ranked player scraping by. This was systematic, clinical domination of a top seed. Eala outserved her, outreturned her, and outthought her in the most critical moments. Consider the maximum consecutive points. Eala won 8 straight at 1 point, 2 games at love in a row. Against the number 6 player, that's almost unheard of. Paolini's longest streak was 5. Eala sustained pressure longer, hit harder, and maintained momentum. She also won a maximum of 5 consecutive games, nearly running Paolini off the court in the first set. Losing 5 games in a row to a lower-ranked player is psychologically brutal. Service points tell the story too. Eala won 42 points on serve despite that dreadful second serve rate. Paolini won 34. Eala won 8 service games to Paolini's 5, hit 2 aces to Paolini's 0, and even in mistakes, Eala was more disciplined, 2 double faults to Paolini's 4. This match isn't just a result, it's a paradigm shift. The WTA hierarchy is no longer safe. Top 10 players need to wake up because a storm is coming. Eala proved she doesn't need perfect tennis to beat elite players. She doesn't need every tool working flawlessly. She just needs her mind, aggressive baseline game, and refusal to back down. She can take a top player's best statistical weapon, analyze it in real time, and destroy them. That's the hallmark of a future Grand Slam champion. So next time commentators say Paolini just had a bad day or the wind was wrong, remember the stat sheet. Remember the 38% second serve. Remember the 51% first serve win rate against Paolini. The math doesn't lie, even if the media does. What do you think about this masterclass? Is this Eala's breakout moment? Is she ready to make a deep major run, or was Paolini just off today? How worried should the top 10 players be knowing Eala is coming for their rankings? Drop your thoughts and analysis in the comments, because mainstream media is sleeping on the tactical genius we just witnessed. If you want more of these deep, no-nonsense analytical breakdowns, hit that like button to push this video through the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss a single update on Eala's meteoric rise. I'll see you in the next video.